Hello, and welcome to The Power of Positivity, returning to happiness and joy when life feels like totally fill in that blank. Today, I want to talk about a few things. One, I'm going to return to embracing those feelings and emotions, and sadness was what I was leaning towards at the end of my last podcast. But also, because today we're at that point, we're at the precipice of Christmas, and I have had an experience on my own self and with friends, loss of family and loved ones right around this particular peak time, right around holiday. So I want to talk about how you can return to happiness and joy, even when these memories or you're going through loss at this particular time. I'm going to speak with you today about gratitude, little rituals that you can create and that you may have already been doing with those you love, embracing the value of sadness, and the fact that love never dies. It never fails and it's never lost, no matter what happens. So, getting into a little bit of understanding sadness and the gift of it. Okay, so did you ever watch that movie Inside Out? I believe that's what it was called, where it was this little girl and she was turning into a teenager, and it was cartoon by Pixar. And all of a sudden, you see her going through these mood swings. She's like really happy, then she's not. She's super sad. She's going through all this stuff, and she's going into teenagehood, right? And if you remember, following anger and sadness and happiness, joy was totally, totally there, 100% on with her joy. And sadness was totally always sad. And if you remember, towards the end of that movie, there was a deep understanding that you could not have joy without experiencing sadness. Well, that was a nice way to put it. And I would like to say that sadness is a value holder of love. When you lose something, whether it's a friend, a family member, an animal, a precious person, place, or thing in your life, when you lose something, you had a value attached to it, some sort of connection of love, of oneness, of maybe not oneness, maybe that's a little too far, but having a connection, and in some cases that might be true, but having a strong connection to someone or something, and relating to people in our lives when we have had beloveds leave us before we would want them to, or because it was their time, and it's around the holidays. The one thing that I want to point out is you can be grateful and not resist that emotion that is coming up, because the emotion is coming up to remind you of the value of love you had together. And you can be grateful of the fact that sadness is a reminder pointing you back to a value you hold within. So it's not a thing where you have to wallow over it and I'm just so sad and I miss. And there's nothing wrong with missing people. But when you start to wallow in it and really identify with it, it becomes you rather than the experience and the expression of this wave, this emotion. It's just like an ocean wave. It comes through you and it might be big and heavy and then it dissipates and it leaves. It's going to leave as long as you don't hold on to it. So having a sense of gratitude of, wow, I feel a little sad right now. I'm thinking of my grandparents. And I'm so thankful for all the gifts they gave me. And I'm experiencing, I would like to rephrase that. I'm experiencing a wave of sadness. I'm feeling a wave of sadness right now. I'm missing them. And I want to remember all the good things we had together. Like, what did they teach me? What are the values they taught me? What are the fun times and memories I've had? So you can bring it back to joyful, loving times. And that brings me to my next point, which is little rituals. Sometimes what we do to honor those that have passed, like I love the Day of the Dead because they put out pictures and candles and food, and they're honoring the people who have come before them and those that they love. And it's just a way to celebrate. Well, even around these holiday times, you can do the same thing. You can create a little space for the people that you've loved, lost, or missed, and light a little candle representing their light that they have actually shared with you in this world. even if they're not physically breathing in this space with you, their light still goes on. Their presence, their energy. I can say from my own experience when my grandparents left, when they both departed this world, the last of my grandparents, I didn't feel like they left me. Like I felt the total love that they have given me still carry forth and move forward. So setting up little rituals can really help with the grieving process as well, because you can always stop by a picture of a person and just look into the eyes and the face and the smile and just say thank you. Because I am a person who, on the spiritual side, do believe that our spirits still go on and that those who have graduated, in fact, when you think about a death process, they are going through a cocoon process. You know, we had to birth in like a caterpillar. We come out, we're all funky, all these arms, walking around. We got to eat stuff. Then you get to a place where you're ready to transform. All right, woo! Well, when death comes, that's another transformation in our life. Out of many other transformations we go through, but death is another wonderful transformation, breaking out of the shell, the cocoon, so they can really fly, their spirits can be free. Now, there's more. If you want me to talk about difficult deaths, I'm not sure I'm going to go into that because every death, like every birth, is different. But you can focus, if it was a challenging death for you to witness, to be around, you can focus on the fact that they are free. They are free from pain and suffering. There's a place to have gratitude, and you can focus on all the gifts that they gave you, the memories, the time that you shared. Okay, embracing the value of sadness. I saw that. Okay, so and lastly, like I had said before, I think we already wrapped it all up. Love never dies. Okay, so even when sadness comes in and we have lost someone, something, a situation, whatever it might be, if you hold space and think for a moment or two, just by breathing, actually, just coming into that awareness within, slowing down your breath when you're feeling emotional of any kind, excuse me, of any kind, breathe in, exhale, slow, and just let it all out. If you just start to focus more and more inward, more into your heart center, more into the feeling, if you do not resist it and you allow it to be as it is and welcome it like a hug. Rumi has such a great poem. And he said, welcome every emotion because they're here to teach you something and clear you out for something even better. How fantastic. So how would you welcome sadness or any other emotion that just feels really intense without running away from it, without trying to push it, without trying to solve it, without trying to clear it, because it's going to clear on its own? Allowing the body to feel what it needs to feel and release as you let go with your breath. Your breath is such a great cleanser of holding on to tensions in the body. Tapping into that love within. Like sadness, if you sit with it, you can feel what's behind it, what's underneath it. And what tends to be underneath it, and I've had this experience with several occasions where I was just deeply hurt by a situation with somebody I very much loved. And I just kept playing over and over in my head this intensity and how sad I was and how I felt I was hurt and I was so wronged. And I had this big thing going on. But I chose to really sit with this emotion, really digest and process what it was. And at the end, at the very bottom, at the depth of my soul, the only thing that was left was love. Love for myself and this other person. And it was very clear to me at that point that love is all that really exists aside from the stories and situations and things that are laid upon it. So if you can rest in that sadness and let it dissolve on its own, be present with it to leave. It's a gift, actually. Hey, it's a gift. It's an emotion. No, I don't want this gift. This is like socks, and I didn't want socks. I want a choo-choo train. Sometimes we are like little children in that way. But instead of rejecting it, what's the use of it? Socks will keep your feet warm. Choo-choos can break. They both have good uses. One will be playful on the woo, and the other one will keep you warm while you play. So what's the use of the emotion? And in this case, when we're talking about sadness, is the return to love. And when you're able to get into a space of returning to love beyond the sadness, deeper within, you will be able to feel that that love goes on and on and on. It doesn't stop. It just continues, just like all of us human beings, just like our spirits. So give thanks for the things that show up, including this specific holiday. Create a little ritual, a little something to say thank you, to give thanks for the people in your lives who have passed. But also remember, as they have gone on, which they're kind of lucky in a way, they don't have to deal with all the craziness here. You can be grateful for that. They're kind of lucky. Is that they would relish in your joy and want to see you celebrate your life today and now. And whatever that is for you, that could be turning on some music, that could be dancing, that could be, cleaning and making great food with music, or dancing with family and friends, or playing board games, or whatever it is that you remember doing with them that you surely enjoyed and loved, and you want to continue those little rituals that you did with them, or little habits, or little things you did together, or create your own. But recalling that, if you were to pass, and you were to be observing all of your beautiful beloveds, would you want them to be in a state of sadness during the holidays, or would you really relish in their joy? So I'm going to propose to you that if today is a difficult day for you, remember the great memories, the good things you did together. Find something fun that you did together that you can do now. Create something new. Create a little ritual so that you can see a picture of your beloved. Say thank you. Look for all the good, even in the sadness. Look for all the good and embrace the sadness. Thank you so much, sadness, for teaching me of the value of love. Okay. Well, that's it for today's episode. If you have any questions, you can find me on Living Joy Wisdom. My website's there and my WhatsApp number's there. And thank you for joining me today. So I wish you a very happy holiday season. Whatever you are celebrating, happy holidays to you. Happy joy time, happy life. Lots of love, lots of health, lots of joy.